I would like to welcome Ms. Tahera Dashti in our interview today. And this interview will be about yogic practices, yogic discipline, and about how yoga can not only transform lives, but how it maybe makes our life deeper, our understanding of ourselves deeper, and about mainly her path and her experience, which is very rich. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Is how your yogic path began and how have you come to realize that you will devote your life to even in professional on professional ground? How you arrived to this and the love of yoga probably.
So, for like yoga, I would see yoga around me from a very early age. Say from the age of 6 or 7, I started seeing that because my elder brother would practice, and he would also practice from an early age, from his late teens, and so I would see him watching Guruji on the television in the house. And those days in India, we had only the national TV channel. So, and
Mhm.
Guruji would come once in a week over there, and I would see him. But, Guruji's eyebrows, white hair, it was very scary for us. And strict even on the this thing, it was very disciplined. So, and he used to tell it's my guru talking, so everybody silence in the house. And so I would always see, and he would practice at home. So it was there. And then we would accompany my brother Ali to the institute, the Iyengar Institute in Pune, for different functions. So there was his annual function, or because he was in Taekwondo, so sometimes a Taekwondo demonstration. So there was a connection all the time, but I never took up to yoga. As so I can understand the others. If we tell them you should do yoga, it's good for you. But everybody feels like if you are doing yoga, it's good for everybody. So if my brother was doing yoga in the house, I would feel okay. It'll benefit all of us. So
Mm.
it's a silly thing, but by the age of 14, 15, I started developing difficulties like health issues, like severe constipation and things like that. So that is when he started teaching me, and he stopped me from going to different doctors and trying things. So he started teaching me at home, and then being brothers and sisters, you end up fighting sometimes. Then he pulled me to the institute, and over there also he was my teacher. And then, as you know, you have to go through different classes. Like those days, there was only beginners, intermediate, and straight away advanced. So that way, I followed the procedure. But because I benefited from yoga for a health issue, it it stayed with me very early on. Like, you cannot forget its impact on your life. I mean, how it helped me out of that. Constipation is an illness. Like, it's even written in yoga books and all. So it was very difficult because it impacts your life, because you cannot concentrate in your life when you're feeling
Yes.
heavy in your stomach, or you don't feel easy and stuff like that. And but when yoga helped me, so, like, I could not do without yoga. Like, I didn't want medicines but yoga. So, and it was nice, it was very active, and I really liked it. So, and my brother, when he took me to the institute, he gave me a stern warning: you should not leave. But I didn't want to leave also, because I could see the effects of yoga and the teachers and everything. It was nice. So that's how
Mm.
I started. So normally when you have an illness and when you do yoga, definitely the appreciation is something else altogether. So nobody has to force you or push you to stay in yoga then.
Yes.
And then my yoga journey started. Of course, I was studying. Being a young girl, I was studying alongside. And I also did my master's in my education. I had to travel abroad from India to study,
Mhm.
but I didn't know that my family and Guruji, Geetaji, and all didn't appreciate. I mean, it's okay if you go and study, but then you come back to yoga. So
Mm,
when I
mm,
came
mm.
back from my studies, my brother Ali, my mother, Guruji, Geetaji, they all wanted me to come back to yoga. But it was not easy, because those days, because I had finished my education and I had a lot of loan, and I mean, my family had given me the money, but I always was thinking that I should repay them by earning, like, getting a job somewhere. But then this didn't happen. And the yoga that I had to do was not so famous. Like, you could not earn too much from it in India those days. So I had to, there was a resistance. Of course, no doubt, my practice was on, and but they had taken me into training. Like, Geeta ji had pulled me, Geeta and Guruji had pulled me into training. So, and training wasn't easy. It is from morning to evening, only afternoons you're free. And so, you had a plan, and that plan didn't work, but you have to go like this. So, for a year, it was a tug of war within me. But then I surrendered, and I started teaching. So first it was more like you learn teaching. I mean, not learn teaching. So they put me straight away into the medical class. So they wanted me to be there. So, and Gitaji would always tell me, "We helped you so much. Now your turn to help us. Come here."
Wow.
Because they always, because those days, yeah, I mean, medical classes were intense in the presence of Gitaji, Guruji, and
Mm,
but it was like, as I knew things, but I was never experiencing it. But as I experienced how the patients recover from it, because these are the patients that they go through different stages of the problem. And what happens is, finally, when they fear some medical intervention, or they feel, no, there is no more remedy in some medical field, then they come to yoga. Then, actually, I would see it was even a major challenge for the teachers there, like, for
mm,
Guruji and Geetaji, and how they would handle for months and for years together. And then
mm,
you could see that when you see the transformation and the challenges. So that kept pulling me, and I was happy to be around, and
mm.
it was a blessing.
So
So that's
first, you got the trust because you've experienced in your whole body, mind, soul. You experienced
yes,
yourself the change
yes.
in you. Then
And
you
as a
could
young person,
completely
because
trust.
in youngsters, it's very difficult to convince them for yoga. But
Hmm.
as a young
You were
girl,
young.
then yeah, I was very young. I was just 15, and when you experience it,
Mm,
and the fear of doctors and the medicines or any other procedure, if it's cut off and you have to do this, it stays with you.
yes,
Of course, your
yes.
body experiences, your mind accepts it, and also your soul feels peaceful, happy. So it is a major experience. So, and then you move forward
So
with it.
what was the training like? You mentioned the training. You mean like a physical asana work training or a
Yeah, it's like,
training
see,
under
asanas,
supervision?
training under supervision. So
Hmm.
it is like, they know, and Guruji and Gitaji, they knew exactly for a particular problem. It could be a back problem, knee problem, heart problem, brain problem, depression, anything, or a gynac problem, like with the women, or there were multiple different things. Some were repetitive, but some were really special.
Mm,
So everybody needed that attention. And so initially we were taken as in, you just have to help with bringing in props and all, where they need. So
mm,
initially, you don't understand as such, but then gradually they hand over a patient to you, like, you have to handle this patient, so this is the sequences were written. And
mm,
eventually, like, Gitaji would insist on writing the sequences and handing the sequences to the teacher so that they could refer. So sometimes, maybe if a teacher is handling a patient, but the next time that teacher is absent, or she's handling some other patient, so any other assistant teacher can come and see the sequence and help that patient. So the patient should not be disturbed, the routine of the patient, but the techniques and all were there. So if you have a backache, the technique, the way of touching a patient and helping with the props, I mean, they were very difficult and different, like, I mean, Guruji and their eyes, what they saw, I mean, I think still we cannot catch. So they had a very different knack of seeing patients and seeing through the problem also. So, some of the students of mine sometimes say, "Oh, you have the X-ray eyes?" you know these are the eyes, but I don't think I have. They would have, but over a period of years, like, so 10 years, 15 years, you train under them day in and day out. It was not just a month or 2 or 5 months. It was for years. And
So
so
basically,
that,
from your 20s, let's say, you
yeah,
have been
yeah,
there
exactly, from my
since.
20s, exactly, when I was 2021, then I started.
Mm.
And then till they were there around, we had to be. So it has been and once I started off with it, then you don't count days, then you don't count the
Yes.
life, and also our earnings were little very negligible, but we didn't need money really so much, I would say. So
Mm.
we were happy to whatever we were doing. And Guruji, Gitaji, and Prashantji, they all would believe in the Guru Shishya, this thing, parampara, means that tradition, like how you have to spend time with your guru. You have to spend time day in and day out. It's not like you just go there for half an hour, 1 hour, do a class and go away. Doing a class is one thing, but then seeing him in practice, seeing him in teaching, and a regular class, medical class, and how he would interact with normal people, like, he never held himself as a special person, seriously. They were very humble. In the class, yes, they were very strong with the students for the disciplinary reasons, for the benefits of the students, I would say. If anybody looked at it negatively, I mean, it's not correct, because whatever they had, I mean, it was for the benefit of the student. If the student is front of them, they looked only for the benefit, how to help the student or make the student better in their practice or things like that. So, but otherwise, they were very humble and very simple. And so my yeah so and then I spent more time in the medical classes, and also, of course, practice general everything. So till the end, even with Geeta ji, who conducted the medical classes till her last day, I would say, I was there. And mm, it went on forever.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that's why I
I
carry
remember.
on, like, whatever I could learn, I would say. That is what I try to share with the students and help them in whatever ways I can. That's how.
Because this is what I remember about you that I used to, 2019 when Geetaji was teaching medical class, and you were always there. You were always
Yeah,
there, even in the years earlier, sitting at the table and writing down the
it's right.
sequences, and then handing it to assistants and teachers. So the early days, the medical classes looked the same. Was it always so full of people and props and everything?
It's always full of people.
Always
Medical classes were always full of people.
needed,
Yeah.
very much needed.
So, and
So many injuries.
with lot of injuries. And see, because in a general class, the pace is so fast, the teaching pace is so fast. And
Mm,
you whether
mm,
it's a beginner class or whether it's and the number of students in India is like in per class, at least at the institute. What
mm,
we teach
mm,
is separately, it is lesser students, but over there, because they were popular, there were so many students in each class, hence the need of the medical class, the assistants, uh, the attention for the patient, it's different. And
mhm.
really, always we were scolded, you need compassion to be with the patient, because the
Yes.
patient over there comes to a particular medical class only because they are in pain. And then, even if we are teachers, we cannot show our ego and our hierarchy or something like that. We have to be very kind and compassionate to them and listen to them and then help them accordingly and things like that.
Mhm.
So it has to be that way. So, and a lot of attention. So, for instance, if I'm so it would happen like we were young, and all my other colleagues were also plus minus the same age, or even if they are not the same age, but we were friends, like always friends. So if we are handling a patient and if I would look here and there, so we would get a scolding, like, you cannot take your eyes off.
Yes,
So it
yes.
was a very strong discipline, and which I definitely respect.
Mm-hmm.
So
And uh, could you see in your work in the medical classes how when the patient's body is recovering, then also his mind is changing? Could you see
of
that
course.
happening, like
Yes, of course. For
transforming?
instance, see, when your body, so it's vice versa. So when your body is in pain, your mind is definitely low. Okay. And if your body is fine and happy, of course, you're elated in your mind also. Your mind also behaves the same. So if you're talking about a medical class where everybody over there comes to you because they have some or the other difficulty in life, physical, mental, whatever. So we have definitely seen them change when physically, when they are getting, but see, as I said, in a medical class there were patients who had physical problems and some had even mental issues. So if you have a physical problem, you can see the mind is dull and it's not cooperating and it's negative and things like that. And when sometimes already the mind is negative, so the body is also like that. So we could definitely see the changes within a few months, within a few classes. But definitely the student also has to be as cooperative. The students have to get into the discipline of at least coming to the class.
Yes.
Only
Mm-hmm.
and being patient, because it's not that you're coming to a yoga medical class and you will do fancy asanas. No, for each
Mm.
it will be different.
Yes.
So the patience should be maintained. The repetition of the asanas, they get bored these days.
Mm.
Those days they had no
Yes.
question. They would not question the guru, the teacher. They would not question. But these days they are like, oh, when are you changing my sequence? It's not about
Oh.
changing the sequence. It's about
Mm.
having your patience to understand how the body changes and the sequence changes. Definitely the sequence
Absolutely.
has to change, but only when the teacher observes a change in the body. Just
Mm-hmm.
randomly they want to do shishasana and randomly it's not possible. It's not
Mm-hmm.
possible. It has to go gradual. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a matter of discipline and there is a matter of patience from the students side.
Mm-hmm.
So but yes, as you said, there immediately we could see the changes. You can see the change in their eyes, their skin, their color, and their body, and everything, the confidence in life that they get back. And
Mm-hmm.
we've seen them a lot.
So you yourself, you mentioned you were younger and it was even difficult maybe to focus sometimes during this supervision by Gitaji or Guruji.
Yeah.
Uh, there was at the same time there was this teaching about the Yamaniyama that has to be there, right? Since the
Yeah.
beginning, even in the medical classes. Is it
Yes,
there?
yes, yes. So,
Because
so it's not explicitly said about the yama and niyama, okay. But
Mhm.
the yama
Yeah.
and niyama is what, like, if a student comes so to the medical class, to a therapy class.
Mm.
So many a times it happens that the student who is coming to the therapy medical class is already practicing yoga. So
Mhm.
they know the disciplinary this that. But there were many who were doing yoga for the first time in the first place, like.
Mhm.
So we cannot teach them, but we had some requisites just for them to follow. For instance,
Mhm.
cleanliness is also important for once a patient who comes to you. Okay, cleanliness is important. Discipline about being on time, being regular, all these things. Then about your trust, like, how the student should trust the teacher. If there's always a doubtful mind, that would not help. That would
Mhm.
definitely not help the student as well as the teacher. So, it's
Right.
not working out absolutely together. So the yamas and the niyamas and how you are when you are, this is a class disciplinary, I can say. But the yama and niyama is also about how you are in the society. How is your behavior? How are your actions? So that would also matter. So your discipline of life in general should be in place. They cannot expect that you come into the class and everything will be taken care of. There are some things that
Mm-hmm.
Lord Patanjali has properly mentioned, that the yama and niyama should also be in place as a yogi, as a practitioner. You have to have those, they are the foundation, and then comes the asanas and all, because the asana will be dependent on that. If you're not
Mm-hmm.
sleeping on time, if you're not eating correct, if you're eating wrong, for instance, if they come to a class, we tell them, right, 4 hours gap of food, this is what you should wear. These are all small, small, small things. And once they start following, gradually the life also starts forming. So it's both ways. So, but the effort should be there from the students for sure. Then everything falls in place, and they don't realize that they are, actually following through all the yama, niyama, asana, and then the pranayam. Because also pranayam has been like was kind of practice in the medical class. It was there for, it has been there, it is still there, I would say, even now that it is being practiced in the therapy classes. Pranayam is a part of it, because pranayam
Yes.
also, the way it helps you, I mean, see, it's not like a physical proof that you get a proof. Okay, this is the
Yes.
proof. See it. You cannot see it. As I say in my classes, I definitely say pranayam is something you have to experience it. See, asanas, at least we can see, we correct, and everything. But when we come towards pranayam, in asanas, okay, we can even sometimes get egoistic, no? My asana is better than the other. Or you feel low that I cannot reach that asana. But in pranayam, it's totally you. And then all these realities of the yama, of the niyamas, everything along with the asanas. Why the asanas? If your body is not free of any sickness or illness or any trouble, then you don't know. While lying down, you cannot spend enough time for that breath, enough time for that inward journey. So all this is interrelated for sure. And I mean, if you say Lord Patanjali, only the first sutra I can say is Atha Yoga Anushasanam. So when you begin yoga, it is when the discipline begins. You should, even yoga puts you into discipline for sure. But at least you should have the discipline of not missing out with your yoga and following it and not questioning it too much. And, you know, it's a path. It's a path. When you start, and many a times for me instance, I started because I was not well, fine, but also when I was on a path of yoga, it doesn't mean that I cannot fall sick anymore. It's not like that. It is a shield, of
Mm-hmm.
course, it is a good shield. But the thing is, it is not that we don't know the destiny, right? We don't know what happens to each person's life. So, what kind of different health issues, you cannot say, no, I'm a yoga teacher, I cannot have fever ever, or I cannot have that kind. We don't know. The lifestyles are, I mean, even if we put in our lifestyles to the best possible, but it happens. The destiny is there, and you can, because I also did have health issues even after being a practitioner, being an
Mm-hmm.
assistant teacher, being a teacher. It happens. But it is how
Mm-hmm.
about you face that problem, how you face that challenge, how you overcome that challenge, or sometimes it happens that if it is a part of your life, how you live with that challenge. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
And many a times there are many people that they don't want to be honest about it. If they become a teacher, they cannot say that, they feel that, oh, I cannot say this. If I admit that I also have a problem, you know it'll bring
Doubts that my yoga
yeah,
is not
it could be
working.
a physical problem, it could be a mental problem, it could be anything, but they don't want to disclose. But
Mm-hmm.
I would feel again, then we are going wrong with the yaman yamas, no, the truth.
Yeah.
Then you're not being truthful. If you're not going to be truthful, then what is the point? I mean, right, you should be, that is the first thing, that is one of the disciplines of life. So, and to be honest, everybody, and Guruji would always tell us, if you come across a problem, and in fact, you should find yourself lucky because you experience it. And then you being a teacher, you being a student, you know how to overcome it, and that's how you can also help others, because you will feel the pain of the others.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay pain free, then the you cannot be as humble, you cannot be as compassionate, because there should be some connection, right? So whenever I was taken into the medical class also, I was like, you've been helped a lot. So now,
Mm,
because I
mm,
also had periods problem. So as I was a student, at the age of 15, I had the constipation and all. Then as I progressed around 19, 20, I had a lot of period problem in spite of doing yoga. So it happens, like, because I'm studying and I have other these things. So then again, I was helped by Guruji, Geeta ji, different sequences, and
mm,
then how I overcame it. So, so it's not like you won't. Then again, I had cyst problem at the age of around 30, because of course you're again not necessarily physically I was wrong somewhere, but mentally also somewhere I know in my life there were like turbulences, things there, and I, in spite of being a yoga teacher and a student, it happened. But then again, I had to go back to it, and so your practice
mm,
changes. Your then you realize, oh, it's of no use. So I have to be more free in my mind and things like that.
mm.
So it's very normal, and
Yes.
it's all about experience and learning and moving forward with yoga. For me, it's with yoga. I don't know what it is about others.
For me, it's the most fascinating in as a result of yoga. The most fascinating is to see the ability to go from the outer, from the surface, to the deeper inside
Inside.
realms of being able to observe inside what's happening inside.
Yes.
That what is for
Yes.
me the most fascinating thing.
See, but as you say, this is something only you can experience for yourself. Like no
Yes.
family member, no
Yes.
how close that
Yes.
family member, it could be your mother, it could be your husband, your brother, they cannot experience this for you. You have to
Mm, mm,
experience it for you. So
mm,
as I
mm,
said, it is a complete experience. And you I would Guruji, Gitaji, and Prashantji, they would always say that you should be also destined to be on the path of yoga, because
mm,
it should be in your destiny. Because sometimes there are so many people that they really want to do yoga, but because of the life conditions, they cannot go ahead for yoga.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
And sometimes, for example, I always wanted to be on yoga, but not a teacher. Like it was not in my
mhm,
mind. But then I was
mhm,
destined to be there. So you should accept it
mm,
without
mm.
too much of resistance. So then the life follows accordingly. So it's all about an experience, totally.
Yes, I had no idea I would even think one day of teaching others or telling something to others because I just wanted to experience myself. I wanted to study more. I wanted to learn. I didn't know what, but I felt I want something more. But then somehow it happened. And nowadays people more, oh, I'm going to be yoga teacher. I'm going to do this and that certification. And it's not there
Yeah,
in Pune,
yeah,
right?
but
There
that
is
is
no,
how
you
you
have no
should say.
certification, right?
Sorry.
You have no certification, I think, and none of the
Yeah, because
teachers
with the
in Pune.
Indian
You have the
teachers, they would not
experience.
give us, yeah, they would not give us
Mm,
certificates. So we were certified as teachers only in the presence of our teachers, gurus. That's how
mm,
it was.
mm, mm,
But there are some who would take because if they wanted to travel abroad or something in the name of that. But I didn't.
mm, mm, mm. So if I may come back again to the therapy class, was there some experience that you really remember well that stays in your mind, how somebody changed or how somebody healed thanks to yoga? Because from what I've seen, there were uh, 1 year, one person barely able to walk, holding everywhere. And the next year
Yeah.
I came, I saw them like walking themselves. And that was really good to see, unbelievable to see. So,
Yes.
do you remember something that you
Yeah,
could
there was one
share?
experience, like there was a medical class going on, and there was a young girl who came on a stretcher. She came in an ambulance in a stretcher, and Gitaji and Guruji were there. And in 2 hours, they made her. I mean, this is This is something that I don't want other teachers to do it and claim it. It's not like that. I don't claim it myself. So it was Guruji, Geeta ji that they worked upon her. And when she went, she could walk down. You know, she walked down the steps, of course, with support and all, but she didn't
Mm-hmm.
use the stretcher to go back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, while she was doing the asanas for those 2 hours, so she was experiencing pain and no pain, because if she's trying to move her body, so of course, but it should be in a right direction. And many, like there were cancer patients, how in the therapy classes they were guided such that they are, of course they had, see, one more thing I would say, or even like Guruji, Gitaji, or the Iyengars, I would say, they still say that whatever is your medical, like the, what do you say, the medical treatment outside with the doctors, we would never interfere in that.
Sure.
Whatever the line of treatment, we would tell them to follow it. It's not that they can give up something and they can come here and expect a miracle. It's not that. It's not that. It is a parallel thing that we help them, and we try to see that we can do the best to help them and pull them out of the problem completely. So even if
Mm-hmm.
when I'm talking about the cancer patients, so they would do their whatever therapy, and they were like, as I said, the patients who would come here would come here as the last hope. So when you come as a last hope, these are like critical conditions, like, but still we have
Mm-hmm.
seen um, how their lives got extended by so many years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it would depend from condition to condition. Now, I cannot uh, write it as an affidavit and say, no, it happens. It's not like that. But how, I mean, it has helped so many people. So one of our students also, no, not my student, one of Guruji's student, how Guruji helped him uh, to live life with AIDS. Okay, and he's still around, and he's very old now. So it
Mm-hmm.
is like that. So, and he himself is, he's also teaching, and he's also, but that is how. And the stigma those days, like I was much younger also, so those days when he had come to Guruji with the name of AIDS, those days they would not touch each other, you understand. So the information also was not good enough over there, but Guruji had, and we would see him. So so there were many things that we've seen people. As you say, you saw somebody who's not walking, they were walking. Then also pregnancy. Many people who were not. I'm not saying everybody will. Condition to condition, body composition, mind state, how your state of mind is. So there were many such conditions where I would see that people were happy with the results, positive in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it is.
So it's not only the skeleton problems, the vertebra and SI joints and all these things that are possible, let's say, very easily to repair in the human body.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also, what is more maybe difficult, those chronic diseases, the internal state of the organs, and but that
True.
can also be, let's say, influenced by the work of the body in the asana,
Yes,
because
yes,
then it goes to deeper organic level, and that can change the mind, the thinking, and then also the organs and everything changes.
yes, of course, of course. And also remember, so for instance, I would always be told that yoga and Ayurvedic are the
Mm-hmm.
two sides of the same coin. So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, for instance, if you come with some physical pain, say shoulder, neck pain, back pain, and okay, we are working on you with yoga. But then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they were advised also, or any other problem, because they were also advised to check with an Ayurvedic doctor. Because see, the ultimate
Mm-hmm.
aim of a teacher, of a guru, is that the patient recovers completely. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the help. So similarly, as I said, I'm talking about Ayurveda. That is one thing. But many sometimes they don't believe in Ayurveda. For instance, if you have a blood pressure, if a patient comes to you who has high blood pressure, so we don't tell them, okay, drop the medicines, come, we'll help you. It's not like that. And we definitely don't advise this to anybody like that. Okay. We cannot be casual, because They have to follow the parameters with their doctors, respective doctors, and gradually, as they, we also have to see if they're going to follow, if they're going to be disciplined in life, whatever, you know. So gradually, then they themselves see the changes, and then they themselves coordinate with the doctors, in coordination with the doctor, whether it's Ayurvedic doctor, whether it's the other medical doctors. Then the this thing, because the changes can be felt by the patient also, seen, absolutely seen, internally or externally, everything. So that is how then the healing happens. But as I said, it takes time, one, and there should be a coordination and cooperation from both sides, the teacher, student, and gradually it happens.
Mm. Tahira, would you maybe invite people and say where you are teaching and where people can practice with you or heal with you, work with you, and where is your offer? What is your offering?
Yeah, my offer is there. They can, as of now, because I've shifted between two cities. So whatever I was teaching offline also, so I had to stop it for the past 8 months, which is very weird
Mhm,
for me. It was
mhm,
never in my life I did that. And I'm
mhm,
teaching purely online. So I definitely
mhm,
invite students, like whoever, and I was teaching first. I have a smaller number of students in my classes. It's not big. So beginners was a class, then the level one, then the advanced. But I prefer to keep it all under the general class, so that
mhm,
when there are smaller numbers, I can handle them. And
mhm,
so, and everybody can learn, because see, if you come to my class, I know your capacity, so you should do much better in that instance. You should not be labeled
yes,
just as a beginner or labeled just as a level one. Or maybe a newcomer comes, and youngsters, they come, they can experience this thing. So I teach online right now. But of course, if there's a group, or if there are students who want to learn, are interested, then of course I can arrange somewhere that we can learn either online, especially, or offline, whatever. So
mhm.
my offers are open, but depending upon how things are works out for them.
Mm. And also, do you teach as a family in terms of your family in Gulna's studio? Because Gulna's Dashti, she has a studio in
Mm.
Pune, and he has a sister. So do you
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah, yeah.
have
I was
events
teaching
there
there.
and
Yeah,
classes
yeah.
are
I was.
running there? Classes are
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
running
My
there.
classes would run there, but past 8 months I've stopped the classes there because I've
Mm-hmm.
shifted to another city. But me, my Gulnas, my sister, then my brother Murtuza, we have been teaching together. We have been
Mm-hmm.
teaching together in the same institute and on the same online platform. My brother Ali teaches, but he teaches on a different platform because he stays in Switzerland. So, but it's in the family. We all teach.
Mm-hmm. So the people in India, they can still visit studio in Pune, and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that's still happening. Mhm.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
And also, it's possible that probably you are coming to Europe. Is that
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. If it is feasible, if it works, if there are enough students who are interested,
mhm, mhm,
it would be my pleasure. It would be my pleasure to come forward and, spend some time with them, share my experiences,
mhm, mhm,
so that people can learn better. Or if they have some health issues, so I can, for instance, that you're teaching there, so we can attend and you can see how it is. So it's like
mhm.
that.
So we are hoping to plan for fall 2026
Yeah.
your visit, and let's see how it goes.
Oh, okay, fine.
Okay,
Thank you so
so
much. Yeah.
that's also invitation for people who perhaps now watching and are around Europe,
Okay.
because your experience is very deep and is worth sharing in also these
Yeah.
parts of the world, not only in India. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So, Tahira, I think we have come to an end. Is there something that you would like to maybe say as a final word and maybe inspiration for people who are or are already on path of yoga and maybe sometimes they have some struggles and sometimes you lose motivation temporarily. Sometimes this vyadhi, the obstacles in the body and health comes. So
Yes, yes,
what to
yes.
do in that
That's what.
moment?
That's what. So the thing is, uh, uh, so we are human beings, first of all. We are no strong, characters that we are on the path of yoga. But at the end of the day, we are human beings. We have a life. Okay, we have a life wherein there are a lot of emotions attached. This is one. So this is one I'm talking about our emotions with our family members or the society or whatever. Then also that is one, and that is also an obstacle sometimes, because if somebody in your family is not well, you have to pay attention, give time, and then your practice time is disturbed or your teaching time is taken away, something like that. It can always happen. Also, the more difficult thing is when you fall in a health issue. It could be any health issue. It could be physically, it could be mentally, because even mentally sometimes, as I said, we are human beings. We have emotions. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher. But you see, now if when we had Geeta ji and Guru ji and Prashant ji is still around, so we still go to our teachers. So you can always go and open up to your teacher and you can take help. But it is never that you should give up. You should, otherwise then there's no point of you doing yoga. If you're
Mm.
doing yoga, it's not that you're ultimately strong or something. It's not that. But there are ways and means towards it. Okay, there are ways and means towards it, and you should not ever drop the path of yoga just because you're not healthy. The practice changes for some time, but it doesn't matter. Change the practice and accept it, because then I know Shirshasan, but I don't think for 6 months or 1 year I should be doing Shirshasan. So this becomes a problem with the practitioner. So you should not do, because if it's not going to help you, it's going to be more bad for you. So then this is the tug of war of a student. The mind does not want to listen. The body is not cooperating. So that is how you should be. So it doesn't matter. And sometimes your mind is disturbed and the body is trying to push you. It's no. You have to be easy with yourself. You should listen to your mind, you should listen to your body, and accordingly you move. So if your body is not cooperative, your mind should lift you up, guide you accordingly, and you overcome, and then you go ahead with your this thing. Similarly, it's with your mind problems. That time your body should lift up, that help your mind to come out of it. But I don't, and you could be a teacher. Even if you're a teacher, these things can happen. So because there are many teachers, they don't speak, openly, but it's fine. I mean, you don't have to go and speak openly to your students right off. But you have that problem, you accept it first to yourself, you look for some help, if maybe your colleagues, maybe your teachers around, or you cooperate with somebody where you can get the guidance for your sequencing, and then you should stick to it and overcome it. But I don't think, see, if you have come on the path of the yoga, means you should feel this, you're lucky. And then how to keep following it, and you should follow it in that way. As and when path changes, there are hurdles, it's going to happen. And I don't think you should ever feel low or drop out of it, because I myself, I have a lot of pain also what I had gone through, but I never gave up. And Guruji, Gitaji also never allowed me to give up. So I had major health issues also, apart from all the other things. And they always encouraged me to continue with my practice. Whatever the practice changed, practice would completely change, but the acceptance should be there. And that patience should be there. Just like you are expecting your student to have that patience, similarly, when it falls on you, you should have that patience. It's just a matter of time, but patience as in you just don't sit over there and wait for the time to pass. You have to work on it. So as a yogi, you have to work on it, and you overcome it. That's all.
Okay. Thank you
Okay.
very much for your
Welcome, Jana.
sharing, and I wish you a lot of happiness and peace
Same
inside
to you.
your life. And
Take
I'm
care of
sending
yourself.
big hug to India, and I'm
Thank you
looking
so much.
forward that we meet in person soon.
Yes, yes. We
Okay,
shall meet in
thank you.
person.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Welcome. Bye.